Okay, now it looks like we're streaming. Good morning, Sergeant Major. Should catch up over here. Hello. Yeah, there we go. Seaver called us a fart knocker. Watch your eyes.
Okay.
There we go.
That was embarrassing.
We had a little notification right before we switched back over to this view that said the last thing that you plugged in malfunctioned. I'm like, I don't know
wonder
what
if
that
that was
was.
it.
That must have been it.
That must have been it.
So good morning, everybody.
So we're going to talk about the thing. We're going to talk
We
about
are.
We're going to talk about how the Troll King, and not Jared Smeck, not the reigning Troll Champion,
That was a good show.
not the reigning Troll Champion, but the Troll King, Elon Musk, who
And
I'm
it's
still
Wednesday,
laughing.
so let's take a look at CNN's take on the topic.
Oh, WTF CNN. And I'm still cracking up over the whole, I challenge Putin to Mortal Kombat over the fate of Ukraine. Here's the question. What if Putin had been like, I accept. You bring the vodka, I bring the brass knuckles.
I'd have bought the pay-per-view ticket. I mean, I'm not flying over there under any circumstances. If there were circumstances under which I would travel to Russia or the Ukraine currently, they would involve, a connex and some, shall we say, acquisitions.
Right.
Yeah. Because, I mean, select fire AKs is one thing, but there are Switchblade drones.
I've heard about this. I've heard about
Yes.
this. Boy, you want to talk about, like, just demoralizing. Right? Like, it's already bad enough that you have to worry about horrible death and all the other things that happen. But now, like, a thing could just randomly drop out of the sky and Freddy Krueger your face. And you know what's really awful? You and all your buddies and like, let's say, you're in the back of, like, a Humvee or whatever, and the Switchblade drone comes in. You guys might all survive.
Yeah, but not well.
Ooh.
Yeah, being the half a dude that gets carried to the helicopter is not the one you want. I mean, it sucks to tote a dude to the helicopter, but being the dude, not the one you want, guys. So, Elon Musk is now the majority shareholder for Twitter.
Well, the largest shareholder.
Yeah, the majority shareholder.
He doesn't have a majority.
That's not what majority. He is the majority
Okay,
shareholder because he owns the largest share. That means he has majority voting position.
I had a brain fart. I took it too literally.
Gotcha. But he owns, and what's funny is the 9.2% of Twitter that Elon owns is 3 times what Jack Dorsey owns. Whoops. So,
Is it really funny? I mean, like, as far as, like, legitimate wealth is concerned, I'm sure, like, Saudi princes have more money than him and
No.
shit like that. But, well, let me finish. But, I mean, as far as, like, legitimate wealth is concerned, isn't he the richest man in the world? Or is that Jeff Bezos?
I'm pretty sure it's Elon Musk.
Elon worth more than twice than Warren Buffett.
Richest man in the world. This is as of January of last year. Individual net worth in January of last year was $184 billion.
Well, either way, as you pointed out on the episode with Jared Smeck, that he didn't really buy 9% of Twitter. He took a couple $1 billion and parked it in the bank of
Right.
Twitter.
Right. Yeah. When you're buying stocks at that level, it's not quite the same thing as well, it's certainly not the same thing as purchasing a long-term asset. It's a little more complex than that. In many ways, it is purchasing a long-term asset, and there is some risk. I mean, if Twitter suddenly went belly up, he could lose the 2.9 billion that he initially invested, but Twitter went up 22% right after he bought it, so he's already made back. He's already earned, as it were, like a 50% boost on what he
You know, it's funny
what he
to
invested.
me that like the left wants more representation. Well, you now have an African American who has the largest share of Twitter, and they hate it.
Of course they do, because as far as he's okay. Elon Musk is actually African American,
Like literally.
but he's not black, and they can't stand that. They absolutely cannot stand that. So bring back Trump as a result.
Actually,
of...
the video up front is. Oh, darn it! There was a very humorous video that was playing that I was going to suggest you just let roll, but
Twitter updated.
Like it do. So yeah, basically the point is unsuspend Trump. Now, I guess that means that there's two questions. There's a smaller one and there's a larger one, and they're both related, and they can both be summed up with: will Trump be brought back to Twitter? And I guess there's a secondary question that goes with it. If Trump is not brought back to Twitter, will at least the rules of Twitter be applied evenly? Like, for example, will anybody in Iran ever be allowed to use Twitter ever again? Because there seems to be a slight imbalance in how the rules are applied.
Correct. Fake news you can trust.
Oh yeah, the Bee was dumped off Twitter for making a joke about Rachel Levine actually being a man.
Oh yeah, you mean like how Rachel Levine is actually a man?
Oh, like that?
This is the reply to that. We, the Babylon Bee, have decided to issue an apology after being caught in a culture war whirlwind of hate and bigotry. We published an article naming Rachel Levine our Man of the Year. Sometimes even satirists make mistakes. Our misgendering headline was hateful, insensitive, and cruel. Levine is 100% a real, actual woman. We were absolutely wrong to say otherwise. We understand now that our attempt at comedy was really punching down at a wealthy and powerful government trans woman official, and we have no excuse. We went too far. We apologize to the trans community. We apologize to the woman community, of whom Rachel Levine is clearly a part, and has been since her birth. We hope to take this opportunity to learn, grow, and be better as satirists and as human beings. So we invite our readers to say it with us loudly and proudly, and with all the strength and goodness of 1,000 kindergarten teachers in Florida trying to teach 5-year-olds about sex. Rachel Levine is a powerful, beautiful woman. Whatever the hell that is. Oh, Dan, no, she is not. He is not actually a service member. He was promoted from civilian to 4-star admiral with no merit whatsoever, exclusively because he wears a dress and pretends to be a woman.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on that. I still remember that Vice admiral with the just barely keeping it under his face. Like, oh my God, really? You got promoted past me? 27 years of doing this shit, and you get anyhow.
And then here's the actual take from the Bee on Elon. San Francisco, California liberals at Twitter were outraged this morning upon finding out almost 10% of their company is now owned by an African American. Several have threatened walkouts to protest the news. That man's foreign ways aren't welcome here, said Twitter programming director Xerxes Vamusix. Zer. I watched a TikTok video about a Salon article about a tweet from a journalist that said he was based, which is another word for transphobic. I've literally not stopped shaking and throwing up on my desk since I found out. Several unnamed sources from within the company expressed worry that the African immigrant will influence the company to value freedom of speech, even allowing people to send tweets people like Vamusix don't agree with. Tweets I don't agree with make me feel unsafe, which means they're literally violence, and I'm going to burn down this building, Z said. Vamusix plans to stage a protest and demand the foreigner take his foreign ways back to where he came from. Other Twitter employees expressed excitement over the new ownership, especially for the free White Claws now available in every break room. And then, of course, this may be the best double take, a double take from the triple threat. Robert Third Reich.
Robert Fourth Reich.
Fourth
We've
Reich.
already had the Third Reich. Robert's the Fourth Reich.
You're right. You're right about that.
I'd say I'm usually right, but man, you want to talk about something that would get taken way out of context.
Anyone who is saying Twitter's ban violates the First Amendment doesn't know Twitter is a private company and the First Amendment protects individuals against government. And Robert, perhaps you don't understand that individuals can take actions as agents of the government when given orders or threats made by the government. Like, for example, Twitter being threatened with additional regulation by Democratic senators demanding that if they don't engage in certain explicit censorship, like, for example, the election tampering that was the censorship of the Hunter laptop story, then they will face severe legal consequences. Now, Twitter, in effect, is acting as an agent of the government, violating individual civil liberties, specifically the freedom of the press, in the case of the Biden laptop story, on behalf of the government in clear violation of Section 240. 242. So, and then here he is just a couple days ago. What could possibly go wrong with an oligarch determining what constitutes free speech? Robert, if Elon Musk is an oligarch, which I'm not even saying he's not, what the fuck was Jack Dorsey?
Stoned. Unwashed. Patchouli scented. You want more?
Wow.
More.
Wow. The
So I get top comment of the day, damn it. Look at that.
Sure.
Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? That was good. That was good. Okay, for real though. Does this how big of a difference does this make? Does Donald Trump get reinstated? Or does he stay suspended, but then accounts that actually encourage violence and hatred, like, I don't know, BLM or Ayatollah, anybody, like, what about them? Do they get suspended? Like, is this... Because I'd like to think that this is a step in the right direction. Because every time, like, we tried the Parler and then Parler got froze out. And then I still don't even entirely understand the whole Truth Social thing. I just know that more people than not that I know are having trouble signing up for Truth Social.
Yeah, I'm on the waiting list.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's pretty clear that Facebook and Twitter and YouTube currently have the monopoly. And not an actual monopoly, but they've got the de facto monopoly. So if we can't operate in their space, we can't operate on the public square. And Elon Musk does seem to have a pretty severe, like, civil libertarian streak to him. But how much good does this really do? Or is Elon the first domino, and a few more billionaires are going to need to get involved and say, no, we are also going to buy portions of these companies, because if you can do this to a president, you can do this to us, and we're going to throw our money and weight around. I mean, does it make the difference? Like, I'm torn on this. I've been thinking about this ever since I first heard about it, because on the one hand, yay, great, Elon, woohoo. But on the other hand, does it even begin to address the core problem?
It at least begins to address the core problem. The core problem is that tolerance is eating our country alive. And you hear that war drum beat constantly. Tolerance. We have to be tolerant. Let me explain something to you about tolerance. You've never had to tolerate a thing which was good and valuable. You're only ever asked to tolerate things which cause you pain and harm.
I don't know. Sometimes you have to tolerate working overtime so you can buy a house.
How often do people ask you to tolerate your overtime? See, you're talking about a choice that you made voluntarily to engage in.
Oh, so you're saying, aha. Oh.
You chose to trade. You chose to trade your time.
How much good would a good do good if a good would do? I can't even say it.
How much good could a do-good do if a do-good would do good? Yeah, Cameron, you just lost. It's been rejected. It's been revoked.
Revoked.
It's been reclaimed. Like some bitch senator's time.
Okay, so nobody ever asked you to tolerate a good thing. Nobody
Correct.
ever asked you to tolerate eating chocolate ice cream, for example.
Correct. We don't have to tolerate. See, in fact, whenever you're asked to tolerate something, the tolerance is the voluntary activity. And if you must voluntarily tolerate a thing, it is precisely because you're being subjected to harm and pain involuntarily. You could voluntarily, you could use your free will to refuse to be abused with pain and harm by those things which cause you pain and harm. Mm-hmm. Right? You know, to your analogy, it would be more like if I injured my hand while working, but I really wanted to work the overtime because it's better pay for the last couple hours. I'm like, I can tolerate this injury on my hand and get the last 5 hours in that I want to have in overtime pay this week.
It's still voluntary, though, right?
No. The working is voluntary. The being injured is not.
Okay.
That's the thing that you're tolerating.
All right, so...
In that case, you're voluntarily tolerating the injury. Right? You have the injury.
I got you.
It's there. There's nothing you can do about that now. But you can choose whether or not to work. And in order to continue working with the injury, you have to tolerate the injury.
Okay, so...
The same is true of sending your children to a public school when the teachers have made it clear that what they want to do without your consent or knowledge is to discuss anal sex with your children.
Okay. Elon Musk
does not have anal sex with your children.
Okay, but for real...
I say that with substantial confidence. So in the
But is this the step in the right direction? Is this anything more than Elon Musk taking advantage of his brand in a way that only a man as rich as Elon Musk could perpetuate his brand?
There's a chance this could be a pump and dump. We've already seen, as soon as Elon bought it, and this, kind of like what happened with Dogecoin. As soon as Elon started talking about Dogecoin, like every time he made a comment about Dogecoin, Doge would spike and he'd make a fortune. He could be doing something like this here. But I kind of don't think so, because Elon has been... He's already started doing things like he's run a couple of surveys on Twitter asking, hey, would you guys like to see a new feature like this? Would you like to see changes like these? At 99 Red says, Elon is very based. I don't think Elon's quite as based as we would like for him to be with everything he's doing, but he does seem to be pretty aggressively libertarian, most especially on the subject of free capital and free speech. And that bodes well.
Well, I'm not asking if this is a pump and dump. I'm asking if this is, like, Elon has a brand, and he has a brand that he very deliberately, it's both reality and it's a cultivated image at the same time. There's some weird intersection there. So is buying a giant slice of Twitter part of pumping that brand in a way that only a billionaire could continue to perpetuate their brand? Or is this actually a step in the right direction? I mean, like, and if it is a step in the right direction, how do we get from A to B? Like, okay, fine, bring back Trump. But when? How long will that take? And I mean, am I making sense? Like, because there's, the way I see it, there's two real possibilities. A pump and dump, I don't think so. But branding, or actually wanting to make a difference, and then actually making a difference. How do you make the difference? Like, you know, what's the soup to nuts of making that difference?
Well, I mean, a big step in the right direction for that is him actually taking a seat on the board at Twitter, which he has done. So he doesn't have, in that capacity, he doesn't have the authority to make big changes. He has the power to make big changes, which is basically the difference between being able to say, there, I signed an executive order that means the thing has changed, versus, you know, I'm in the meeting with everybody and I get to say, I want to raise a motion to bring back Donald Trump, for example, and then the board votes on it. 99 Red says they'll try to stall Elon as much as possible. That you can bet on. That is probably true.
Is that a reference to 99 Red Balloons?
I don't know.
Oh no, I'm asking 99 Red. I know you don't know. I just happened to hear that song on the radio the other day. That's why it's top of mind.
Have you seen the Postmodern Jukebox version of that song?
No.
It's pretty amazing. It's better than the original, and the video doesn't hurt it at all. Is it that cute blonde singing it? I don't know if cute's the word for it.
But yes.
But yeah. I showed Shay that video, and she starts doing her little dance, the little outfit she's wearing, and she's, oh honey, no, you can't move like that. Don't you, oh no. If you've never seen Shay blush, that put a smile on your face. Poor old redneck. I don't have much more on this one. I was going to talk a little bit about some of the hot takes, but we're close enough to time that we don't have time to get into those.
I don't know. We could take a little quick peek at them, because of course, Trump, not Trump, but Twitter in its current iteration has tried to make it look like we're the idiots. Which, speaking of, for some reason, Twitter has decided algorithmically that even though I don't think I've ever followed a trans person ever on Twitter, it keeps suggesting all of these posts by trannies.
Yeah, I wonder how that happened.
And I'm confused. Like, I'll click on one and be like,
well, yeah, that's what they do.
Why do I care that it's been your 3-year anniversary since you began the transition? Like, what made you think this was ever supposed to be? And of course, now I've clicked on it, so the algorithm goes, ha, this is what you want. And I'm like, no, damn it.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Also, stop sending me shit from Meghan McCain.
Right. So, okay. That's all I've got this morning.
Oh, we can't look at any of it? Let's look at some of it. Just a bit.
Okay, how about this one? Florida free thinker Bring back Trump with his total corruption and incompetence. After 1 million Americans died needlessly from the Trump virus, he destroyed the American economy and destroying more jobs than the Bush Great Recession. Yes, bring Donnie back and more lies, chaos, failure, and corruption. Okay, Florida Freethinker, your illustration here, January 22nd, we have it totally under control. On January 22nd of 2020, the Democrats were full-blown in the engagement to impeach Donald Trump on crimes of which he was accused, for which the overpriced investigation, the hoax, Russia sham investigation, headed up by the Democrats and their agents, had not only failed to prove any of the allegations, but actively disproved them all. And the Donald was engaged in trying to deal with the coronavirus problem. Right? That's where we were on January 22nd of 2020. And at that point, it had already been almost 3 months since we had started talking about the threat of the China virus on this show, since we had pointed out, it was before the previous Christmas.
Yeah, 99 red balloons is our people. I could tell. The FBI should be declared an enemy of the people. And
we've talked several times on this show, 99. You should watch us more often. We've pointed out several times on this show, it's time to abolish the FBI. The entire FBI needs to be RICO'd up and charged with conspiracy to defraud the American people, along with the DNC, Planned Parenthood, BLM, etc., for several things that amount to one large conspiracy, and part of that includes the Hunter laptop situation. But then you get, February 2nd, we pretty much shut it down from China, it'll be fine. Yeah. At the time, Trump said we need to shut down travel, international travel, especially from China, where the virus originated. And your people, Florida Freethinker, Ed Truman, your people were screaming, "You're a racist, you're a racist." And then as soon as you got your shitbird in office...
Go eat dinner in Chinatown.
Exactly. Nancy Pelosi saying, you're racist if you don't gather in mass in Chinatown. And then in New York, they were calling you out to come out and go to the theater and everything to show that you were smarter than the xenophobe Donald Trump, who was trying to shut down the source of the frickin' disease.
Well, let's not forget, China shut down internal travel to and from that province in their country. So China believed it came from a certain spot inside China.
Yep. February 25th. In fact, we're very close to a vaccine. Okay, so at this point, Florida Freethinker in history, Donald Trump was saying that we're going to do everything we can, including tearing down red tape to get rid of to get rid of the red tape that's in the way of developing the vaccine, and with Project Warp Speed. And of course, all of the criticism was you can't develop a vaccine that fast. It can't happen. It's not scientifically possible, etc., etc. And then we saw, less than a week after the election itself, all of a sudden, all the testing was done and the vaccine was ready to go, which nobody should take as suspicious. It shouldn't strike anybody at all as suspicious that they just happened to complete all of the testing 3 days after the election instead of a week before. So I'm sure that 9 days, that 12 days, whatever it was, I'm sure that made the difference in the testing. Fucking liars. So that's where we were on February 25th, is Donald Trump said we can have a vaccine this year. And everybody that voted for the current administration said that's impossible.
Boy, I have comments and I'm not going to say them because I want to stay on YouTube.
And then this February 27th, one day it's like a miracle, it will disappear. He was talking about, he was on that 27th address, he was talking about plans for Easter. 2020 was one of the earliest Easters ever. It was Easter 2020 was like it was like the second Sunday in March or something. It was an especially early one. This year it's one of the later ones. It's the second or third.
It's not
Sunday
this weekend, but next weekend.
Right. So that's the third Sunday in April this year. So yeah, he was talking about Easter Sunday and all that, and it was wishful thinking, right? He didn't make a proclamation. It was clear wishful thinking, and hope is a useful and valuable thing. So,
and it's not related at all. But Seaver, Chris has long hair too. He just keeps it in a ponytail. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the chat that was very humorous.
Oh,
yeah,
Seaver, you should have seen Steve Rodemeyer 10 years ago. Maybe 20.
And more like 20.
More like 20.
A lot like 20.
Jesus, son. Well, 15.
I'm splitting hairs. You see what I did there?
I do.
The dad jokes are strong with this one.
So that's all I've got this morning. Wow, I'm glad I didn't scroll past that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in this one, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Tomorrow.